So I'd like to take the opportunity now to switch to Arvind. Arvind Gupta, former entrepreneur, corporate executive extraordinaire, who I actually met because I was stalking him. We were both in California at the same time, and I was doing research on who knew more about blockchain and was doing more about unique identity than anyone else in the world. And I was introduced to Arvind. And I've asked him to come here today and talk to you because it's shocking, the progress that they have made in India, to talk about the progress that they have made and how entrepreneurs can actually tap into the work that they've done. I'll be quiet. You go forward.
Thank you, Lisa. But Lisa, I have a disagreement with you.
What?
I have a disagreement. I think once an entrepreneur, you're a lifetime entrepreneur.
Yes, that's true.
I'm not a former entrepreneur. I continue to be an entrepreneur. I'm speaking at the entrepreneurial conference. So
yes.
It's hard to disagree with Lisa, but I found my opportunity and I had to use that. So with your permission, Lisa, I'm going to make a presentation. It's the cue for the organizers here to put up my presentation. Okay. In any case, I'm going to make it very lively till the time we get a presentation. How many of you know what happened on November 8th? November 8th?
Demonetization.
Not the one that happened in North America. I'm not referring to elections. A very important thing happened in our part of the world, that is India. By the way, India is 1.25 billion people, about the size of Africa. About the size of Africa. What did we do on November 8th? We demonetized our currency. Do you know this? 86% of India's currency in a matter of 4 hours was made illegal tender. Imagine a country the size of India or continent the size of Africa not having a currency next day morning. Can you imagine that world? Yes, we did. And we reimagined India a new normal. Everybody has been talking about the new normal. India is living the new normal. And I'm here to talk about the India story. This is a great story for a couple of reasons. When we did this whole demonetization, this 86% of currency coming out of circulation from India, not a single social unrest in a population of 1.25 billion people. Friends, that is the story of India, and that's what I want to share here today. Why did this happen? Why did this happen? And where it is related to entrepreneurship. And Lisa, as I said, once an entrepreneur. I was part of this massive campaign to elect Prime Minister Modi as the next Prime Minister, of the current Prime Minister of India as the Prime Minister. I call it my biggest startup. Because he is the CEO of a country who runs India, he's very digitally savvy, and he understands the empowerment digital economy brings. We're all talking about digital empowerment, impacting the bottom of the pyramid. This whole exercise of demonetization, the example I gave, was built on the digital economy. The new India, the infrastructure, we always think about infrastructure as what? We talk about infrastructure as the social infrastructure, the hard infrastructure of energy, of cities, of transport, very important. But what we added to that layer of hard and social infrastructure is a layer of digital infrastructure. Now friends, this digital infrastructure is the backbone of rebooting our government. Let me take a minute to explain to you what this digital infrastructure is. This digital infrastructure, Shivani, is based on banking. This digital infrastructure is based on mobile phones. This digital infrastructure is based on your biometric identity, the digital identity. Now, everything about India has to be big. We have 1.1 billion people in India on a digital identity system. On a digital identity system. Connect that with a mobile number and a bank account. And what we have, what we call the JAM, J-A-M. Everybody was giving acronyms. This is my acronym, JAM. JAM in India stands for Jan Dhan, which are the bank accounts. A stands for Aadhaar, which is our national identity system. And M stands for the mobile number. Now, why this is fundamentally very important? Today, you can do almost any government services, any transactions, any payment, knowing any of the three. Your bank account, your social security number, your Aadhaar number, or your mobile number. Any of the three are identifiers, and in a unique format, you can disrupt any government, any banking. And that is what helped us during demonetization. We could transfer money digitally at the stroke of on a smartphone. And today, because of that, what we have done, this great digital infrastructure, what we have done, we have altered India's digital DNA. I'm going to give you a few cases, few studies. The government in India is rebooting itself based on the backbone of this digital infrastructure, this great digital infrastructure. I had very nice slides, but I think we've not been able to find those. So that's the final cue for the organizers, if they can still get the slides up. What we had created is this, everybody has been talking about bottom of the pyramid, empowering the people who have been socially excluded. India also does plus minus of $200 billion worth of benefits and subsidies. But the plumbing was broken. When I say the plumbing was broken means that we did not have the right infrastructure to distribute the subsidy. Of $1, only 10 cents would reach the person that it was intended to. What the government did is, with the biometric identity system, the digital identity, and the mobile numbers, and the bank accounts, today, any citizen, if I'm entitled to a subsidy, a benefit, I walk into a shop, I give my biometric, that does two things. Make sure I am the one who is eligible for that. Two, there is no duplicacy. And three, that I'm certifying that I'm consuming that service, that benefit. And what happens? Remember, biometric is tied to your social security number, your identity number, and also to your bank account. The government, at the end of the day, does batch processing. Next day, money into your bank account. Direct deposit. That's called the direct benefits transfer. Middlemen out of the picture. Duplicacy out of the picture. Leakages out of the picture. Government rebooted. Why? And what is the benefit of this? If they are a government official, they should follow this. In last 2 years, by implementing this in only 2 schemes, giving gas connections to every Indian, we have saved $7.5 billion in only 2 schemes. And India has upwards of 1,000 schemes, 1,000 benefits for its various citizens. Imagine how the government can be rebooted and be made so efficient by using this across the world. And we call this India Stack. This is the story that Lisa wanted me to share, called the India Stack. And you will have to visualize this India Stack now. This is a stack that, what is the stack first of all? This is a stack of open innovation, which we have created to solve the problem of the next 6 billion. The stack which is based upon your identity layer. It's very closely tied to a layer called Paperless Layer, a DigiLocker. Imagine a Dropbox or a Google Drive for the masses, identifiable by any of the 3 attributes: your mobile number, your biometric identity number, or your bank account number. So the Aadhaar layer, completely biometric. Next layer, the paperless layer, completely paperless. It's a DigiLocker by the government, and I'll explain to you why this is so beneficial. Third is this great payments layer. We call it the SMTP, the emailing of payments now. We have made payments in India. The India's switch is a story to be told to the world. You can make payments from X to Y like you send email. It's so interoperable. It's actually faster than email, by the way, and lower cost than email. This is the SMTP of payments. Real disruption. And guess who has done this? Government. And made it an open stack for every innovator, any entrepreneur to build on top of it. And then we have added on this third layer, the fourth layer of transactions. We are shortly going to introduce the GST layer, the taxation layer. And lastly, a consent layer where the consumer has the rights. If I want to share with Shivani, I want credit. So I want Shivani or her company to have access to my data, my transactions, my payment history. Then I will do that. Otherwise, nobody else can get access to that. This, friends, is called the India stack. Now, why this is so important? This is foundation for any innovation that you want to do. You don't have to rebuild it. It's all open APIs, all SDKs. What Microsoft would give you for the developer environment, the country is giving you to solve all problems of people, societal problems. Next few steps, health, education, everything is online. And it's digitally available. Let me give you 2 examples. Everybody talked about the unbanked. The Honorable Deputy President this morning talked about the unbanked. The mayor talked about the unbanked. You know, we had, in 2014, a massive population which was unbanked. The Prime Minister said within 1 year, nobody in India would be unbanked. 220 million bank accounts were opened in a matter of 1 year. 220 million bank accounts were opened in a matter of 1 year using this technology. That's a world record, by the way. And when you do demonetization, that was the basis of it, because you needed people to have bank accounts. Now, the currency that was out there in the informal market is all inside the banks. It's all tied to your JAM, the Jan Dhan Aadhaar Mobile Trinity. So people can bank, can produce data so that they can get credit in the future. It's a huge transformation. And I'll leave you with the last thought. India, this is a private operator. And who could think that you could have disruption in mobile telephony? Right? A new telecom 4G operator in India launched his service. Their service was launched last year, in August last year. In 170 days, they enrolled 100 million consumers. 100 million consumers in 170 days. Completely paperless, completely contactless. Using this India stack that I have asked you to imagine. Right? And how did that happen? That happened because you could walk in to a mobile phone, not a mobile store, a mobile phone, and say, this is me, Arvind Gupta, this is my identity number, and I verify myself using my iris or my biometric, and all my KYC, know your customer norms, were met. And paperlessly, all my records, because I gave consent, were given to the operator. So they met the KYC requirements, and without, generally cost of enrolling a consumer is about $30. This was down to $1. So innovation at the 1/30th the cost could be delivered. That's why you could do it at scale, at a cost that was never imagined before. And guess what? 100 million new consumers. So we are reimagining the way the country works, way the consumers want to come on board, the way you distribute benefits, the way you do innovation. And I can go on, but I think I've been asked to stay and stop over here. I want to leave you with this thought. India can do it. Any other country can do it. We have leapfrogged over the last 2 years in building this infrastructure. And today, it is innovation as a public good. The philosophy is, this is open innovation, innovation as a public good. Come, build on top of it. Don't reinvent the wheel. This India stack is available to you for you to build your innovation on top of it, so that you can solve real problems of health, education, financial inclusion, credit, sanitation, not worry about the basic foundation. Thank you very much.
Thank you.